Welcome to the Startempire Wire Founders Podcast, where we make entrepreneurial founders a top priority. Each episode features risk takers, business builders, community shapers, institutional and government supporters in our local startup ecosystem. Tune in weekly to hear all about what's happening with the movers and the shakers of Southern California's Inland Empire and beyond. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Founders Podcast, where we are letting you know about all of the movers and the shakers, the people who are influencing the startup ecosystem here in the Inland Empire. Today, I am sitting with a great friend, Kimberly Davidson.
Hi, Various.
Yeah, what's up, Kimberly? Thank you for coming on. Of the City of Wildomar. Kimberly and I go way back to when she was working at Corona, and it's good to have her on. So I'm just going to let her get started with a little introduction. Tell us who she is, where she's from, and what she's currently doing right now.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So I am the Economic Development Director and Public Information Officer for the City of Wildomar. And so what that means for that particular department is my job is to help bring business into Wildomar, keep it there, help it grow and thrive, and also to seek out those businesses maybe that are home businesses or startup businesses and help them to grow and thrive and get into a position where, you know, really at the end of the day, if the businesses aren't making money, City Hall isn't making money. So it is in our best interest to seek out those entrepreneurs and get them successful, hopefully keep them in Wildomar, although we don't really have any control over that. People are going to go where they need to go. But that's the idea, is really finding those businesses and helping them to grow. It's been my passion for about 20 years now. And I started on this path, I guess you would say, by opening up my own marketing firm about close to 20 years ago now. And then really my marketing firm was focused on, I had an idea in 2005 that the small businesses had nowhere to go for marketing help because small businesses, mom and pop businesses, startup businesses do not have the type of funds. I mean, look, they didn't even have the type of funds to hire me.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was pennies on the dollar compared to most, you know. I had no overhead. I was working, I had a home office. I had no overhead. So there was a real need for help with small business. So I started that, and then they had posted a position at the City of Murrieta that was very similar. It was a business management position. Business manager, I think, was my title when I started at the City of Murrieta in 2008. And really the job was to connect businesses together, bring them to City Hall, you know, find out ways to help them thrive. That was a sort of, and that really what I was doing for my marketing company. What I found out pretty quickly when I started my marketing company was that I was doing less marketing and more cheerleading for the small businesses. Yes, and really motivation. Right. I can't tell you how many of my clients would call me on sometimes a daily or weekly basis and be like, Kim, I can't do this anymore, you know, and I'd be like, you can do it, you know, we're going to get through this. Eye-opening to me, because where I thought I was really just going to be doing marketing for them, I really kind of became their cheerleader and motivational support and, you know, person to vent to. And sometimes that's all people need to get through something, right? So then the same type of job opened up in Murrieta. I applied for it. I got it. I ended up working at the City of Murrieta for 8 years. And then, as you know, after that 8 years, I went to work in the city of Corona for 3 years doing the same thing. Yeah. And boy, we had some fun in Corona.
Golden days. Those were the golden days, right?
We really had it rocking and rolling there. We had Techo Tuesday. Yes. And, they still do coffee with an entrepreneur, and just some really fun. The workforce strike team connecting manufacturing and students at the local high schools, and we really had a lot of really fun programs there. I really enjoyed those 3 years that I was there. But things have to change and keep moving. And then I ultimately went to work for Wildomar. And what I really love about Wildomar is and I know you're about, I can see your Startempire wire on your shirt there. I know you're all about startups. And Wildomar is a startup city. So it was really cool especially to go from a city like Corona that is, I don't even remember now, 100 and something years old.
Yeah. It's
when you get an older, larger city like that, you get a lot of systems and whatnot that it's like they've just been rolling in the background for eons, and maybe people don't even remember why it got set up that way or how. With Wildomar, when I came to Wildomar, I've now been with Wildomar a little over 3 years. It's all of the processes that other cities really take for granted that have just been running in the background. We're just starting them. We're
that's
just
pretty
getting
awesome.
Going.
No, that's an awesome project right there.
Yeah, it was sort of like going from Google to working at a startup tech company.
Working at a startup,
Yeah, it's like sitting down and really having to think through, how do we want this process to go? How can we set it up? What software do we need to get it rolling? All of the things that, what money do we have?
Right.
Where are we going to find the money
come
to do
from?
This? Yeah, pretty much all of the things that, any kind of startup goes through, all of the aches and pains and growing pains and little wins, wins along the way, that when we do set up a process and it starts running in the background so smoothly that you pat yourself on the back and move on to the next thing that needs to be resolved. So Wildomar is a startup city, and that's a big reason why I wanted to go there from Corona, and I just love it.
That's cool. So it's a very purposeful challenge, because I like working with startups as well in general, because you got to put all the processes in place and you're responsible for that success, you know? So, yeah.
But it's kind of the difference from the way I look at it. It's the difference of building something brand new as opposed to remodeling something that's already been done. Right. And sometimes it's easier, if you're talking about construction, sometimes depending on how dilapidated the building is, sometimes it's easier to just go in and flatten it.
Yes.
And start over, or you think like, gee, I wish I just had a blank canvas to start over again. And so with Wildomar, that's really what it was. It was a blank, especially, 3 years ago.
Wait, how old is the city of Wildomar?
So Wildomar is 14 years old now.
Okay.
But when we incorporated, we just got hit, as did some of the other young cities, like Menifee and Murrieta Valley and Eastvale. We were kind of the 4 young cities in California. Okay. But everyone was in a kind of a different financial situation, right? Just like when you have 4 startups, they're not going to be identical either. Everyone comes from a different background. And in our case, we really got hit hard when we incorporated in 2008. We really got hit hard by the recession. The state of California went through a series of highway robberies.
Wow.
I'll just put it where they were taking funding away from all the cities in California. But because we weren't as established as some of the other ones, it really hurt us. And it took a lot of money away from us. And we ended up getting some of that money back. They also took away redevelopment funds. So they just kind of went through a process. It was like the perfect storm that hit us all at once, right? So we're 14 years old, but really for the first 10 or 11 years, we were just in survival mode. We couldn't move forward with anything at all. We were just doing all that we could to provide the basic public safety services, keep the lights on at City Hall, and really, the city manager at that time was coming in every day and just checking the bank balance to make sure that we were still in the positive. We always were, and that's a huge credit to him. That was Gary Nordquist at the time. That was a big credit to him, but we were very often barely just in the positive. And so what really started to change that was number one, that in 2018, the voters passed a measure. It's Measure AA that ended up giving us a 1% sales tax. It didn't go into effect until 2019. Most of the cities around here have something similar. I think in Corona, it's called Measure Z or something like that. In Murrieta, it's called Measure T. So different, but ours is called Measure AA. And so what that started doing as of 2019, when it went into effect, was started bringing a little bit more of the revenue in from sales tax directly to the city. Because one of the things that people don't realize is that when you go, let's say you go buy a car, right? And let's say you buy it in your own city. The city, by the time the sales tax funds get distributed to the state and the county and all, the city makes pennies on the dollar from your.
Oh, wow.
Right. So a lot of people don't realize that. And over time and over quantity, right, we have 37,000 residents in Wildomar.
Okay.
So it does build up to something large over time.
Okay.
But not to the amount of the expenditures that tend to go out for police and fire and all of the services that that we have to. And, that's a good point to make too. Unlike a startup company, a government is something very different, where if we find, let's just say, and I just hear me through it, because it's going to sound wrong when I say it, right?
Okay.
We might say, gee, police and fire are costing us a lot of money. Maybe we could cut those services. We can't cut those services. We have to provide a level of service, and we want to provide. So where a true startup company, a private company, can look at maybe an area of their business that is costing them more money than it's bringing in. Right. The ROI isn't there. They're wasting too much resources on it. They can cut that, right? And they can pivot and they can go a different direction. We can't. So our general fund is something a little bit different. We have to provide a certain level of service, and we have to keep a certain level of maintenance, to our parks, streets. So there aren't things that we can just cut when times are tough. So it is a different kind of ball of wax in that respect. But we did pass that Measure AA. Yes. So we started seeing some funds coming in from that. Nice. And then at the same time, we were part of a coalition that sued the state of California and got some of that money back that they had taken from us.
Great, yeah.
So what was funny, Various, is about the end of 2019 is when all of this was sort of coming to fruition, that finally we were in a position to not just be in survival mode anymore. We had a real opportunity to move forward. Yeah. And so around City Hall, we were like, 2020 is going to be our year.
Oh, no. No.
Right?
Little did you know.
I know. And I mean, we had a new mayor. Dustin Nigg. He is a retired Marine, and he was like gung-ho, ready to go. And we were like, we're going to hit 2020. And we were, January, February, beginning of March of 2020, we had so much stuff that we were going to accomplish, and then we all know what happened in March of 2020.
March is the infamous month.
Yeah, it was like the world said nope, and shut the door. So so that was kind of funny looking back now. But anyways, now we're still coming out of that again, and but we're really, now we're heading into another recession or whatever. Some people call it a recession. Right. Some people are calling it the Great Reset. Whatever.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
But so it's just kind of so a city government, just like any other business, we feel those things too. Yes. We have revenues that we need to take in because we have things that we need to pay for. It's obviously different than a business like I just explained, but we feel it too. And when there's a recession, we feel it too, and we have to adjust and figure out how to pivot.
So I guess the biggest goal would be just to attract more businesses to your city somehow, right? And more. Well,
so at this point, we're in a particularly weird kind of scenario because probably unlike almost any other city, there's a few, like Eastvale, I think still has some land. Okay. A lot of cities in California, which you probably know, in Southern California at least, they're out of land, right? Yeah. There's really nowhere to build anymore in Orange County. There's really unless you're going to decimate something and rebuild something. Right. In Wildomar, we have quite a bit of vacant land, and a lot of that is commercial. Yeah. And a lot of that, look at the picture behind me. That's actually from our city seal. It's my city seal. But there's still parts of Wildomar that look exactly like the picture that's behind me there with the cowboys.
I know every time I drive through Wildomar, I'm like, that's a lot of land, It
is. And a lot of it is freeway frontage, and most of it is commercial. Nice. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But also the good thing is the commercial that we currently have is full. We have a very low vacancy rate. But what that problem is, it sounds kind of like a weird problem, but really as an economic development person, you really don't ever want your vacancy rate to be at 1% or 0%, because that means nobody can move. right?
One can move.
To stay put. So if you get a business that starts to grow and needs to expand to somewhere, I don't have anywhere to put them.
Wow.
So that might mean they grow and they move now to Temecula because they've grown.
No, not good. Yeah.
So I'm in a particular sort of pickle right now where really my focus is on marketing to developers. Yep. And getting, I need some more development in my city. I need someone to come in and build some mixed use. I need some more commercial centers. I need some more office space. Our office space is almost 0% vacancy, but that being said, we don't have a whole lot of it. So it's kind of a tricky thing to say. You know, we have considerably less at the moment than say Murrieta or Temecula, who are also seeing low numbers for vacancy.
The Inland Empire startup ecosystem industry is tremendously fragmented. A few top-tier hubs, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego, are well covered by media, events, and data platforms. Finding reliable information relevant to startups or the tech industry in the Inland Empire is extremely difficult. As a result, startups can't scale fast enough. Investors are having a hard time finding the right deals, and corporates can't find the right companies to partner with for their innovation activities. Startempire Wire, the leading Inland Empire startup publication, is providing the Inland Empire startup ecosystem with the most accurate, engaging business and financial data, events, and news. Our reach of entrepreneurs, C-level executives, angels, VC investors, startup employees, key management at innovative corporates, and big tech is the solution for your B2B or B2C needs. As we build out our platform, we're looking for partners. This is your opportunity to get in on the ground level. If you're looking to align yourself with the local and growing startup and tech ecosystem of the Inland Empire, we have created the platform to get your name noticed and the opportunity for you to grow the recognition of your brand. Contact us today for availability and pricing options. We look forward to our partnership with you. How do you attract those developers in?
Well, so that's a good question. We do go to some trade shows that are specifically set up to do that. Yes. During normal times, when we're not still trying to come out of this COVID stuff, I would have, like when I was with the City of Murrieta and the City of Corona pre-COVID, there were a lot of luncheons, and a lot of the developers are Orange County based. So it was a matter of getting Orange County, and I think you probably remember from my Corona days, I spent a good deal of time in Orange County. Right. I was there talking to developers, because a lot of the developers that we have in California right now, and sometimes you're going to get a developer, it just depends, but a lot of the developers that we would be marketing to, their home base is Orange County, or they have an office in Orange County. It might not be
like Newport Beach type thing.
Correct. Because of course, who doesn't want to live in Newport Beach, right?
Right.
So, and Irvine, a lot of them have offices. So, and even if they don't, a lot of them, when back again pre-COVID, there were just a lot of luncheons and a lot of associations that attracted those developers, and so it was a good place to go and meet them, no matter where they were coming from. So like BizNow had some good stuff. There's NAOP. There was like a number of associations that would hold kind of monthly stuff that you could go to. That pretty much died during COVID, and it's been slow to come back. But we do go to a yearly trade show called ICSC. It's the International Council of Shopping Centers. We wrote
an article on it.
Yep. And so we did go to that in May. That happens every May. And from the City of Wildomar's perspective, see, right now, our main things, we're trying to talk to developers, and we're trying to attract a hotel. We need a hotel. We don't have a hotel in Wildomar, and one of the biggest things is our Wildomar has the only trauma center for the entire region. So Inland Valley Medical Center is a trauma 2 center, and it is the only trauma center in all of Southwest Riverside County. So important. It's a very busy hospital that it has life flight landing and taking off from there, fairly often. It has a helipad.
They just received like $300 million, right? Or are they going to do $300 million of upgrades or something like that?
Yeah, it's $333 million in expansion, and a 7-story patient tower is going in. It will be all private rooms.
Wow.
But what's really most important about that is we do not have a hotel near it in order to service it. And really, if you're not in my industry, you probably never noticed before. If you've had a loved one that you needed to go and stay near a hospital, then you would know that most hospitals have at least 1 or 2 hotels near it for a number of reasons.
Yes.
If a loved one of yours ends up in ICU and you need to be near them, because God forbid you get that call in the middle of the night, you can't be 15 minutes away. So having a hotel right across the street from a hospital has a lot of quality of life issues associated with it. Okay. Plus, there's a lot of traveling nurses and doctors that need to stay nearby, and sometimes on, not necessarily where they want to go rent a house, but they just need to might be a 1 or 2 day thing, right?
Yes, yeah.
Sometimes they bring specialists in for a 1 or 2 day thing. So, and then also there's a lot of outpatient surgery. So there's also a reason why someone might need to just stay across the street for a few days, because they go have a surgery, they need to stay close, they need to go up to follow-up doctor's visits, and they're not going to drive from, say, Riverside. They don't want to make that drive, especially if you've had surgery. So we need a hotel very close to our hospital in order to service that hospital. Okay. So we went to ICSC, we talked to a lot of hotel brands. Marketing is just marketing, just like any other business would do, and just knowing our target audience and trying to get in front of that, trying to get in front of Hilton, trying to get in front of Marriott, trying to get in front of, and we've had a lot of interest in that. I'm really hoping that we'll be able to make an announcement by the end of the year that we've got, that someone has signed an LOI. Now, at the end of the day too, it's important to note, this is all private busince, right? Okay. City does not own any land. Yep. It's not really our deal to make, but we're really like what my job is, I'm like Match.com. Right? I got to go out and find the hotel developer that loves Wildomar. Yeah. I got to sell them on Wildomar. You're going to love Wildomar. Now, we did have a hotel study done. It's not all what I say. I've got to have data to back it up. Yes. We had a hotel study done. It shows the numbers. It does show that Wildomar is the right place right now to build a hotel.
It's it's a great location.
Absolutely. And especially with the hospital. That's a huge economic driver for that sort of thing. For all the reasons I just stated. So I've got to go find the right developer. And what does that mean? That means I've got to kiss a lot of toads before I get honestly, I like any other salesperson on the planet, I get a lot of no's. I get a lot of we'll see. I get a lot of I'll call you back later. But you just keep going, right? Yes, yeah. And then once I find that hotel developer or that hotelier that says you're right, this is perfect, then it's like, okay, now which spot in Wildomar? And then I might put them in contact with 5 or 6 different locations that we see as possible hotel. Right. But then it really comes down to that property owner. Now, if that property owner says, would love to have a hotel here, and my property is valued at 1.4 million, but I'm not selling it for less than 5 million. Right. The deal blows up, right? There we go. That's true. There's nothing we can do about that. It's constantly trying to take this group over here and connect them to this group over here and put them together.
Man, it's such an active process, you can't be passive about it. I love it.
Right. And it's hoping that magic comes together, and in this case that the hotel developer and the property owner meet and love each other and want to do a deal together, and they're able to work out all of the fine details of it, and that it becomes a marriage made in heaven. And then that's how eventually you'll see a hotel pop up in Wildomar. But as you can imagine, at any given time, there's lots of variables that go into all of that. At the 11th hour, someone decides this deal isn't for me and just decides I'm not going to do it. And that happens too. So sometimes the general public never knows that this deal almost came together and never did.
Yeah. Oh,
because
wow.
we're usually bound by for a period of time, we're bound by confidentiality that we can't tell people, that we're talking. Like, for example, we all know that Murrieta just got a beautiful Costco.
Right. Yeah.
That deal's been in the works for 20 years. And
wow.
I know that there was a period of time, probably for the past 2 or 3 years, that Murrieta knew for sure that Costco was coming, but they were not allowed to say anything because it'll blow up the deal, right? So at any given time, we have stuff that we're working on in the background that we know about that we just can't, we're not allowed to mention. We've got to keep it very close to the vest. And
usually you guys talk about some of these things in the city hall meetings, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. When we can.
When you can, right?
Yeah, when we can. And we get so excited when we can, because I'll tell you, there's nothing worse than knowing something. Okay, for example, when the hospital was when Inland Valley Medical Center was going to announce its expansion.
Yes.
That's their story to tell, not ours. So we knew about it probably 6 months before they were going to announce it, but we were not allowed to say a word.
Wow.
And it was like, something big is coming and it's so exciting, but we have to wait for them. It's their story to tell, and it's their news to celebrate. It's not ours. And so we can't get ahead of them and celebrate it before they're ready. But we did know. And so very often your city does know what's coming, what's in the works, what fell apart, that they can't. And it's all just part of the process, and it's part of the job. Man,
that's so cool. So, Kimberly, what is the biggest thing that you would say could be an incentive for businesses who are looking to come and be a part of what Wildomar is doing right now?
Coming to Wildomar? Well, I think number one, there's a lot of opportunity. We're right on the 15 freeway. We're right in between Lake Elsinore and Murrieta. And for our piece of it, because of all of the things I explained earlier, we got started a little late in the game as compared to some of our other neighboring cities, right?
Right.
Temecula is pretty much built out. Murrieta is getting there, especially along the 15. They've still got more room on the 215. Yes. But the 15 being the primary corridor really through our part of California, especially, we have a lot of opportunity. And we've made it this far with waiting on the vacant land until we get something perfect, and we don't mind waiting a little bit longer. We're not just going to fill the city with whatever comes our way first time. We're being very choosy as much as we can. We don't control all of this, but we're being as choosy as we can. And I think that's really good news for people coming to Wildomar, or people who have already invested in Wildomar, is we're really doing our part to protect your investment. We're not just going to take the first thing that comes through to put on that vacant land, unless it's awesome. I mean, look, if they come and say, hey, we want to build a Great Wolf Lodge here. Oh, okay, we'll probably take that. But if it's something that's maybe like what we call the highest and best use, if it's not the highest and best use, in our opinion, for that piece of land, we're asking people to go back, look at it again. And here's what we see for the vision. We're currently updating our general plan. It's the first time in 14 years we've been able to do that.
Very cool.
Right, and our general plan is kind of the map of what the city should look like. It's the vision for the future. Mm-hmm. Here's where this should go. Here's where this should go, right? Industrial should be here. Residential should be here. Commercial should be here. That sort of thing. It's the roadmap of how we're going to develop the city. And so we had never had the opportunity to update that. We had inherited it from the county when we incorporated. So we're going through the process of updating that, making sure that everything is slated to go where it should go, from a aesthetic point of view and from just a good flow point of view.
Right.
And so I think that is a really good thing for the future investments of Wildomar, that we're really paying attention to that, and we want to protect your current and future investments in Wildomar. Mm-hmm. And number two, I think what you get, and I touched on it earlier, we're a very small city hall. We have about 30 people at our city hall. Most other city halls that neighbor us have in the hundreds.
Oh, wow.
But what that means for us is, and I can put it in a context of, say, the Titanic, and I don't mean that in a bad way to my other neighboring cities, but when you have a large cruise ship, a beautiful large cruise ship, it's awesome, but it does take some time to turn that beautiful large cruise ship, right? We're like a speedboat. We're like, we can
more
maneuver
agile,
like
right? Yes.
Yeah. So
no,
when you
true.
come, if you want to open something in Wildomar and you contact me, I can very easily get the city manager and the planning director in there and myself. And now you're talking to, besides city council, which is obviously our bosses and the people who make the real decisions.
Yeah.
You've got the 3 people at our city hall that make the decisions about your project, right?
That's cool.
Right. So at other cities, you might, and I know some developers and businesses know this, you might meet with 3rd string people or the 2nd string people, right? And it might be a little while before you get to the 1st string. Well, at Wildomar, we only have 1st string.
Yeah.
There's no great. 2nd or 3rd.
Y'all are playing Iron Man football. We used to call that Iron Man football, where you have a team of only like 13 players and you play both sides of the ball. Yep.
And that's it. Like someone gets sick. Someone's sick, so that, you know, because of that, like during COVID, we played it really safe with COVID because we run a tight ship, and it's you know, we got to be really careful of those things. Right. So we actually still have some staff members that are working remotely for that reason, because we all wear a lot of hats. We all help each other out. I really appreciate the team environment that we have at Wildomar. The departments work so well together, and you don't always see that at other city governments. Sometimes there's some just, what's the word I want? I don't want to oversell it, but just sometimes the departments don't always agree with one another, and that can hold up projects sometimes and create some friction. Issues in that. We have such a small team. And this team gets together very often to go over things, make sure that our process is running as smoothly as it can. I do have the ability, you know, if a business calls me and says, hey, I'm having an issue with your building department, I can walk right over to Scott's office and say, hey, what's going on with this business? And he can say, you know what, I'm going to go out there today and check on it and get let's get them going and that sort of thing. It's just, it's a different vibe. We're smaller, and it's just kind of like that. We're not a big, beautiful cruise ship. We're like a sporty little motorboat. So we can kind of
agile. I think of it in terms of startup, right? Agile, you know? Agile. So you're really able to make those decisions quickly, turn on a dime. You know, that's really great though.
And the other piece of it too is we're hungry for it.
Yes.
Yeah, we're hungry for it. Someone wants to bring us a hotel. You better believe that everybody at City Hall is going to sit up straight and figure out how to get this thing, because it's, you know, we need that win. We need a hotel. If you don't know, brings a lot of money to the city in a lot of different ways. Not only the TOT tax that gets charged to it. That's, you know, everyone, it's normal when you go to a hotel, you know, you pay a resort fee and
Right.
So that brings in some revenue, but also the residual revenue that comes in. If you're staying at a hotel in Wildomar, you're probably going to eat in our restaurants. You're probably going to buy stuff at our Rite Aid. You're probably going to buy gas at our gas station. And that's just, you know, the sales tax just keeps adding up from that one traveler, right? Man. So there's a lot of benefit to having a good hotel in your city. So, and not to mention the quality of life, like I said, to service that hospital that is expanding as well.
So tell me, like, what other specific initiatives or things you guys have going on for maybe small businesses and startups in your city?
So right now we're doing a fee holiday for our business registrations. So if you come if you have a business in Wildomar, or you're thinking of opening your business in Wildomar, there's still a little space left depending on who wants to come here, but we need some more built. That you don't have to pay for your business registration for the next.
Oh, that's great.
Typically it's $75 for a new registration. It's actually $71. There's a $4 state fee that we can't get around. So that has to be charged. So it's $75 for a new registration and $50 for the year for a renewal. So reasonable numbers anyways, and it very comparable to what our neighbors charge. as well, our neighboring cities. But right now it started on September 1 through August 31 of next year of 23. You do not have to pay for that. We're paying that for you out of the ARPA funds. Part of the ARPA funds that came to us as the COVID recovery, some of that money had to be slated towards economic development and helping small business. So that is how we're doing it. Some other cities have done some different things. It's been really fun to watch what everyone's kind of coming up with to help small business. I mean, I hope the small businesses out there, if there's any watching this podcast, that they realize, and if they don't know, check with your local city, because different cities are running different programs that are intended to help the small business, and they're getting reimbursed with the ARPA funds. So,
that's great.
So that's what we're doing. And so for the next year, you don't have to pay for a business registration in the city of Wildomar. It's really cool. And, we always have, I'm your business liaison at City Hall. So like I had said earlier, if someone wants to open a business in Wildomar, wants to bring a business to Wildomar, has questions, I'm like the customer service. So they can always contact me and I'll sit down and chat with them. I have paperwork that kind of gives you step-by-step on how to form a business in California. That's just free. You don't have to be even, trying to open a business in Wildomar. I'm happy to help anyone that comes through. We do have an entrepreneurship class that we're doing right now, Bright Business Wildomar, which because you were part of the first one. I was part of the first cohort. Yeah. That one went from May until June. May, June, July, August. When did it end? August? May, June, July, August. I think it ended at the end of July. Right?
Earlier, in July. And the new one started in August. So we're on season 2. Lots of great information, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, need to be a part of Bright Business Wildomar. And I mean, I would say the curriculum is very in-depth. So
very in-depth.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking before this program. It's a lot of information. It's like a fire hose of information.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The instructor is always happy to work with you one-on-one as well. He's just so passionate about this curriculum.
Wait, and Lauren has been on the podcast. Yes, he's been on the podcast. So.
Yeah, he's he's awesome. And so the good news is there's so much information, and it's like, even if you walk away with one iota of that information that you were able to soak in, you're going to be better for it. So, Absolutely. And like I said, he's always willing. And the class is no cost right now.
Yeah, it's free.
Yeah, it's free right now. He is working on, Florin would like to eat and put food on his table for his family, because he's a startup too, right?
Yeah.
So he's working on how he can monetize that into the future. So obviously this class won't always be free, and I encourage that, because sometimes people mistakenly associate free with no value, and in this case that is not the case. But
not the case.
I do sort of unfortunately think that once he starts charging what he rightfully should for this class, that he may actually get more interest in it, which is ridiculous. It's so counterintuitive, but it is what
I think people are willing to invest more once they have to pay something,
right? And so right now it is no cost. I honestly don't know how much longer I will be able to keep Florin at that no cost. And again, I encourage that, and I'm trying to help him move to the next level. So if we do, this session is slated to end at the end of October. We probably won't start another session until next year, because November and December are just not good times to be trying to do that.
Packed.
So if you're listening to this podcast, if it interests you, you want to get in for free into this class, then get with me quickly, to find out if we're going to be holding another session next year. Because like I said, at some point, Florin is going to come to me and say that he's moving on. He's going to be charging for the class now. And he really can't do that at City Hall. We can't have a for-profit business using nonprofit City Hall facilities. So he will have to move on. He'll probably have to rent a space. He may end up renting the space from us.
Right.
But then he'll be on his own as a private business. He'll be charging for the class and that sort of thing. And again, that's what we're encouraging him to get to a point of, because just like just like the businesses he's trying to help, he is also a startup entrepreneur, and he needs to move to that next level too. So we fully encourage that. But just as a warning to anyone out there listening to this, that if you do want to get in at the free price tag, you may need to act quickly for the next
and you
session.
might need to be in the next cohort, because it might end next cohort, right?
And I think I can really see him getting so busy and running these all around the region to where he'll also be taxed a little bit, I think, to be able to jump on that Zoom and do the one-on-one. So now's the time, it's kind of like maybe, I don't know if I want to compare him to Tony Robbins, but let's just say, let's just say if you were to
before it blows up.
Right. If you had gotten in and gotten some private tutoring from Tony Robbins before you became Tony Robbins, what an opportunity, right? So don't miss your opportunity, because I think Florin is going places. He has a great curriculum, and we're happy to be on the ground level with him and supporting him and doing what we can to help him get to the next level and be more than just a startup.
Yeah. So go back and check out the podcast with Florin, and get in contact with Kimberly, and sign up for that next class.
Absolutely. Will you be putting my contact information on this, or do you want me to say my contact information?
You can say it as well. Please say it, but we'll put your you're on the city's website.
Yes.
We can put your profile on the website.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So the website is cityofwildomar.org. And if you go there to business or economic development, there's a number of ways that you can find me. I think you can even type, by the way, Various, we're in the process of, we're going to be redoing our website very soon. So that's very exciting.
Oh,
we
nice.
just put out an RFQ. Yeah, we just put out an RFQ for website proposals. We actually have, towards the end of this month, we're going to be interviewing 2 of the finalists on Zoom with our public, because we want the end user to be involved with what we're doing. But so hopefully very soon we'll have a new website. That's very exciting. One of those things where, we're a startup, and now we're really getting our big boy website coming up here. So it's cool.
Come on.
Because our website has needed some
updating.
It's just needed some help. But so we're really looking forward to that. But it's cityofwildemar.org. You can get to me a number of different ways. Also, we do have a Facebook page, and my contact information is on there.
Right.
Yeah. So
and can they connect with you like on LinkedIn? Are you on there at all? Or
absolutely. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I have personal Facebook, Kimberly Davidson. Should be pretty easy to find me on a number of different platforms. So
awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Kimberly, this has been amazing. I really appreciate you coming on the Founders Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you contact Kimberly Davidson with the City of Wildomar. She is going to be your liaison for all things business related to the City of Wildomar. One more thing. Are you guys I know you guys work with Murrieta to do some events as well too.
Absolutely.
Do you have any upcoming events,
Well, not necessarily with the City of Murrieta at this time. We do have our State of the City is coming up October 6th. So that will be really a lot of fun to find out what's going on in the city. The mayor will be talking about what's going on, but we do partner. You're right. We do partner with Murrieta. One of the things that I'll just hit on really quick here about Southwest Riverside is the 5 or 6, if you add in Canyon Lake. Canyon Lake sometimes wants to be part, and sometimes they just do their own thing, and that's fine. Right. Canyon Lake, if you don't know, they're about 11,000 people, and they pretty much all live behind a gate, but they're a city. It's kind of beautiful. It's a lake, and it's just beautiful. But so I always call them the sometimes why, AEIOU, sometimes why. So sometimes they kind of take part in what we're doing here, and sometimes they're just doing that. We always love to have them. But so the 5 or 6 cities of Southwest Riverside County, we talk to each other all the time. Our city councils talk together. I don't know that you find this in any other region, at least in California. I can't talk about, I don't know about other states, but it's a collaboration like nothing I've ever seen, and really Various. I didn't appreciate it as much as when I went to Corona and had a chance to kind of be removed from it and be an outsider looking back in.
Wow.
It is when it really hit me how much collaboration there is down here. City councils meet very often. Our city managers meet very often. All the economic development people meet very often. So I do Scott Agajanian in Murrieta. I talk to him all the time. Christine Damko in Temecula, Gina Gonzalez in Menifee. We're constantly, we have each other's cell phone numbers. We're texting back and forth. Hey, what do you know about this? Hey, did you know about this? Where can I find this? We're always helping out each other. I don't know that you see that other places.
I've never seen it personally.
Yeah. And I don't think I hit on this earlier either. We're really trying to, as we're filling up Wildomar with the, with the raw vacant land that we do have, we're really being mindful of what already exists in our neighboring cities. And we do not want to just carbon copy that and cannibalize it. We want to complement it. And we want to be good partners, to the extent that we can control it. We don't control that, but we're encouraging different and unique to Wildomar so that it complements what our sister cities have already done and doesn't compromise or cannibalize what they've already done. So that's a really important part of it too. But we work very closely with Murrieta and Temecula. Those cities will come to us and say, hey, we're going after federal funding for, a road improvement on the 15 freeway or something, and we'll write a letter of support to Congressman Calvert or whoever it may be. So,
that's cool.
So we really do try to step in where we can and help our sister cities, and they do the same thing for us. So I think that's a win for anyone coming to this area, whether you end up with your business in Wildomar or Murrieta or Temecula. We're happy to have you here, and we all work together as a team. So everyone wins in that environment.
That's so cool. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, get in contact with Kimberly.
Please.
Thank you, Kimberly, for coming on the Founders Podcast.
Thank you for having me, Various. This was awesome.
Yeah, no, I was excited when I saw you schedule. I was like, cool. All right. So if you are not subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and subscribe. You can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. We're on all of those. Share it out with at least 3 or 4 people. And if you're watching this on YouTube, like the video. Other than that, we will see you next time. Have a great day, everyone. Peace.
Bye. Thank you.